Hello, this is Lolly. I am starting a new project today, a series to make a junk journal that I'm going to call a flip junk journal, and it's going to be Valentine themed. So it is using the Simple Stories Collector's Essential Kit Kissing Booth. This is the larger of the two kits that they have, the larger of the two collections. I have this in my shop at the moment. I will give you a link below to getting that. When I work with a collection, I like to take that edge of the bag and fold it under so it's not constantly sticking to all the pages as I'm pulling papers in and out, or I take it all out of there and either put it in a 12-inch iris case or put it in one of these large zipper pouches. They have these at the dollar store, and there's, I think, 3 in a pack. And these are, I think they're the extra large. Look for the measurements. They're about 13 inches across. So that way it gives you the ability to get 12-inch papers in and out there without any issue. So I'm going to put all that in here for now, so it's easy for me to get them in and out in a cinch. So what I'm going to do for my cover, I like to use, and you've seen me do this before, I like to use file folders. I did find these white ones, but you don't have to use white. I use the manila color all the time, and they work just great. And if you even have a manila one, you could even paint it white. You could use gesso on it to make it white. If you decide to paint it with like acrylic paint, just make sure you're not soaking it, otherwise it gets all warped. And so what I want for this one, I was thinking about the 4x6 cut-apart cards in here, in this collection, and I want, so let me show you so you know what I'm talking about. I want to be able to use these on the pages, these, but no, that's the 4x4. I'll get there. And that looks like 2x3 maybe, or are they the 4x6? Well, let's just pull all the papers out here. There we go. There it is. I think it's these ones. Yes, they're 4x6. So if my pages in my junk journal are 4x6, I would have a hard time getting these in because part of that page is actually being stitched in here. So I'm going to make these my pages in the junk journal 4 1/4 to make room for these to actually fit in there. And so based on that, I worked my measurements out as to how big this needs to be. And I want it to be, this is the cover again, 6 1/4 inches this way. Okay, that's the height. It's going to wrap around like this. And so the actual dimensions would be 5 1/4. But I am going to use this tab, I think. Let's see. I might cut my 6 1/4 right out of the middle of this. That way I can keep this tag and it can be like a little back pocket. So let me work on that. I'm going to shave off a little bit on each, and it doesn't really matter to me that this tab is right in the middle of that. I don't really care. This is 11 5/8 across here. I'm just going to cut it. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me whether that's perfectly centered or not. If you have the Tim Holtz ruler, you could do this to find out where the center was, you know, and do your 6 1/4 that way. Okay, so I got that, and you can see where my tab is. I'm going to trim the very, very end of this because I don't want those two pieces. Okay, so I've got it now, and I am going to start scoring this. And I am going to start with this end, the flat one. And let's see, thinking of which way I want to go. This, I'm not going to worry about the fact that it's already got a fold in there. Usually those folds don't work out with what I have planned anyway. Yes, I'm flipping it over. I want my first one at 4 1/4. And then I want to go 4 3/4 over from the next one. So that would be a total of 9 inches. So I'm going to write this down as I'm doing it. So 4 1/4 and then 9. And then I need to do 1 1/2 from there. So that would be 10 1/2. Okay, I'm getting my 9 better. 10.5. And then my next score is going to be a little tricky because I've got to line up. I'm going to put my 10.5. I'm going to line it up over here with the 2 just so I can see what I'm doing. It's too long. And I need to go another 4 3/4. So from the 2, I'm going to go to 6 3/4. Okay, let's see if that worked out right. Your guess is as good as mine. And I'm going to burnish. This is going to be like a back pocket or a flip. This is an inside flip. And then we've got, you have to make sure you're scoring on, burnishing on the score lines that you created and not on the ones that naturally come with this file folder. Okay, so I've got my spine right there. And what I have is this back pocket, and I have this flip right here. Now the fold that already comes on the file folder is going to get covered up and it will be strengthened. File folders are not notoriously really strong, so what you can do to make your spine stronger is you can cut out another just 6 1/4 by 1 1/2, but just a little narrower than 1 1/2, trim a little bit off, and just glue that over there to really give the spine strength. I am going to mat all of this, and I'm going to mat some of the insides as well, and then I'm going to Mod Podge over the whole thing. If you don't have Mod Podge, I'm going to give you a recipe down below for making your own. And the other thing you could do is you could put like packaging tape over this part right here where the spine is going to be. Okay, so now what I need to do, get that, there we go, is to pick out the papers that I'm going to use for the for matting that. So in other words, what is the actual cover going to look like? And this again, it's so hard because I love all the papers that came in this collection. And like I like this, but the back of that is those cards. So I want to put these cards aside so that I don't accidentally use them in the, I don't cut them up willy-nilly. Okay, that's the other card right there. So I have those. I think there's one more. Here it is. There's those right there. So there's 4 sheets of the cut-aparts, and I'm putting those aside right now so I can use those in my flips. And what I have left is this plaid, that floral, which is just gorgeous. This one that says happiness, love, sweetheart, etc. And then the hearts, really like that a lot as well. Black with red hearts. And these ones are all little tickets. That's cute, but not enough for a cover, I don't think. I love that, floral. And the XOXO. And the big chunky plaid. This is really cute. Hugs and kisses. And the XO there. And we've got, looks like wallpaper. And stripes and florals, very cute. Polka dots. And the plaid, I love that as well. So let me work out, I'm really fond of the florals and of this particular plaid right here. What I'm going to do is work out the dimensions for all my mats, and I will return. Okay, so I have it measured out. Now, if you remember, these are 6 1/4 by 4 1/2, 4 3/4 on the front and on the back. I like to take a 1/4 inch off, so instead of 6 1/4, make the mat 6. So 6 by 4 1/2 instead of 4 3/4. So I need 2 of those, front and back. And for the spine, 6 by 1 1/4, or even 1 3/8 even maybe. I do a little, I like to get enough of a mat here so that when I sew on the signatures on the inside, you know, my papers, that I'm not sewing on the edge of the mat, but well into the mat. So I'll see what I think. So I chose this paper. I just love it. And although I love these as well, they're so busy that if I put anything else on the cover, I think it'll be drowned out by the busy pattern. So I've cut this. Do the 6-inch strips first, not the 4 1/2. Do the 6-inch, and that way it just works out better for a paper pad. So if I cut 4 1/2 now, Okay, and 4.5 again. Okay, and now for that spine, I'm going to do the 1 3/8 and see what I think before I choose, because I can always cut it down to 1 1/4, but I can't make it bigger if I cut it too small. So I did the 1 3/8, and I think I'm going to like that a lot. So, and that's going to give it a nice sturdiness there. I don't usually worry about this, but you will see it in between the signatures, so I think I will cover this. And so I've got that. I want to put all these aside, that these are my special ones. And now what I need is, I need a mat for here, here, here. But I don't need to mat this whole thing. This is going to be a pocket, I think. I'm trying to decide. I don't know if this is going to be a pocket or a flip here. So while I'm thinking about that, I can at least make a mat here. And it needs to be 2 1/4 by 6. Let's see, and this is, I could just do it this way, or I could do it with the tab. And actually, I'm thinking I'm going to do it without the tab, because I might want to write something there. But if I mat this, if this is a pocket, then I don't need to put paper all the way into it, but just about to like right here. So this is why I need to decide if this is a pocket. And I'm thinking I'm just going to make a decision and say it's a pocket. So what do I want for the insides? I could still use this, because I cut it in 6-inch strips, so now I have another 6-inch strip. And that would give me this, this, and this. With maybe enough for this, I don't know. Or I could use something else. And if anything black, white, polka dot you have in your stash, that would also work. Let's see. I'm trying to think. These are so fun, and I love them all. This might work on the inside, but I like this for a signature. So, plan. I like both of these. If you have a paper that you love both sides of, that's a good one to use for a signature cover, because you will see both sides. If there's something you don't care for the back of, like this really doesn't do anything for me, this would be a good one to glue into the book. So I might do that and glue this in these 3 spots right here. Okay, so I need a 6-inch strip, because, let's see, do I want my... I'm trying to decide if I want these vertically or horizontal. I like it both ways. All right, I decided the stripes are going to go horizontally. That's because I have such small panels here, and these will be the same size as the front cover. So 4.5. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. And 4.5. Actually, I want to get the one. I want to flow between the patterns, so I'm going to do the 1 3/8 now. And then I want to do another 4.5. Okay, so that's that. And you can see that the pattern flows right there between those. If I make sure, of course, when I glue them on, they might not flow anymore. So one thing I can do is, I don't know if I can see this or not. I'm putting a little 1 here, so I know that's the first one to go in. Okay, now you will notice that there is some writing here. So one of the things you can do is take a dry brush of some paint and cover that up, or some gesso. And so I want to do that because I don't want that showing through. And by dry brush, I'm going to use a nice stiff brush, and I'm not going to soak it, in other words. I'm just going to go back and forth over that. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll probably give it one more coat, and I'm really only worried so much about what's going to show in between the papers, but I'm thinking, on the other hand, if the cardstock isn't that heavy, you might be able to see some of that through it, depending on what you're using for your cardstock. So I'm going to do this, let that dry, and then I'm going to give another coat right over the seam where all those numbers and letters are showing. Okay, I'm loving this. This is so pretty. So again, this is going to be a pocket, so I could go ahead and glue this down now, but I think what I'm going to do is wait and work on this first. So this is the cover. Now this is the front. Let's see. This is the flap. I have this one flip here. So this is the first mat there. I think I made this a little too wide. This one fits. I cut this one the wrong length. So let me trim this down. It's supposed to be 4.5. Yep, I cut it the wrong. There we go. And that's what that's going to be. I'm going to love this. Okay, now that's going to dry, and again I will most likely get an extra coat of the Mod Podge on the spine, this side and the other side. Okay, it's a little warpy, but it will press out. I mean, it will flatten out when I let it dry. Okay, I'm back, and I have all of these papers, and these papers were Mod Podged on. They're all dry, and I took the Mod Podge and made an extra coat there and there along the spine portion. You can barely tell. I mean, it's not like it's going to cause any problems visually. Now I'm going to get these clamps out, and I'm going to glue my pocket over. Got this tacky glue recently. I like it because it sits down on its tip. I'm still kind of testing it out and seeing what I think. There we go. Okay, so we've got that, and while I have that, let's move this over. So we have our first flip, and that is on the inside of the cover. Put that back there. So this measured, so 4 and almost 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. So I would be able to use any of the 4x6 cards, cut-aparts that came in the collection as part of the flip. And so these are all horizontal here, except for this one and this one, which could go any way, any direction, I mean. So let's go ahead and get those cut out and see what I think about them. I like that they are double-sided because you can see the other side even on a flip. This is cute because it also reflects what's going on in here. So it could be this way, it could be this way. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do here. I like that the stripes will be going in the opposite direction from this, or I could do it this way, and that would be cute too. Just thinking. I think I might do it this way. And so what I did was I prepared ahead, and I just took some 8.5 by 11 inch white cardstock, and I cut them in 1-inch strips, and then I scored them right down the middle, so that is 1/2 inch, and these are going to be my hinges for doing all of my flips in this book. There we go. Okay, so if I put this right there, I need a 4-inch strip of this. I'm going to do it a little smaller so that you won't see my hinge on either side of this. So now we have this. This is the front cover, and it opens this way, but we also have a flip going like this. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cover this. And one of the things I just did was I made these love kind of bingo card type things. And I'm getting them out as a free download. So I will give you a link down below to this link. And so they are about 4 by 6. When I save the file, it saves it as a 4 by 6, but when I turn it into a PDF, depending on what your printer does when you print it, you know, it may change the size. So this is not 100% 4 by 6. It's a little smaller than that, but not much. So, and what I did was I actually borrowed this pink from one of the inside this flower, so, and the red, so that it would match. There we go. Okay, so that folds in. I still have this spot, and I have this right here that needs some sort of little mat right there. And remember, I had talked about the fact that I could make paper go all the way up here, but I like the idea that this tab is going to be white, so I need to remeasure this now because it's been a while. So I think we said 6 inches by 1 3/4. I need a 6 by 1 3/4 strip. And I think the back of this, like I said, this is not my favorite, but I like it as a little strip like there, and I'm not even going to need to cut that because it's just fine as it is. You know, it could use to be a little pinch wider maybe, but I just like it as it is because it just is really pretty. So, and now we have a pocket here as well. And I still have this here, so I'm thinking about what to do there and do it, you know, is it overkill to have a flip there as well? And I don't think so. But I was wondering about doing a flip this way. This flip is vertical, and I could do a flip this way easily. But I'm just looking, I might want to use one of these instead, even though the words are going to be sideways. That's still okay. And I could put some sort of word there if I did this one. But I kind of like doing this one here because it brings in more of the pink. And so I think I'll do a flip that way. I need a 6-inch hinge here. And again, I'd go just a little shorter so the hinge isn't showing underneath. Okay, so now we have that, and I would like something to cover up this hinge, and I'm wondering about either putting another card on here or maybe the washi that came in the kit would be great. That's what we have so far. That is the cover for our book. I usually wait a little while and decide where I'm going with this and how well, you know, I use my ephemera and what I want to put on the cover, and also, you know, as some ephemera for this as well. So make sure you check the links down below. I will give you the link to finding this paper collection. I will also give you the links to this free file right here for you and for that download, and it will be only in a PDF form, not in an SVG form. Thank you so much for watching. I'm loving this project already.